You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Mr. Chambers? Mr. Chambers? It is the meal time. Kindly state your preference, please. Mr. Chambers, it is the meal time. Kindly state your preference. Please deposit cigarettes in appropriate receptacle. This is a safety measure.
I should take a flying jump at the moon.
Kindly repeat request.
Oh, knock it off. Leave me alone.
You do not care for food at this time?
Yes, I do not care for food at this time.
Very well.
Very well. Very well.
Please conserve water.
What time is it?
There is no time in space. This is to say, there is no chronology that can be calibrated.
I said, what time is it? What time is it on Earth? Can you tell me that without an exercise in Euclidean geometry? Now, just tell me what time it is on Earth.
On Earth, it would be 12 noon.
12 noon. 12 noon.
This is the way nightmares begin, or perhaps end. Very simple, direct, unadorned. Incredible, and yet so terribly real that even while they're happening, we live with them and digest them and assimilate them. And if it's 12 o'clock noon, that's what you preoccupy yourself with. You don't think about 12 o'clock noon on the next day or the day after that. But that's what we should have been thinking about. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. We were preoccupied with the hands on a clock when we should have been checking off a calendar. It was an April day, and it was noon then too. And people walked and drove and bought and sold and fretted and laughed. The world went on, much as it had been going on, with a tentative tiptoeing alongside a precipice of crisis. There was Berlin to worry about, and Indochina and Algeria, and all the other myriad problems, major and minor, that somehow had lost their incisive edge of horror because we were so familiar with them. And then... and that's when it happened. That's when we first heard that they had come. That's when we should have prepared ourselves for any eventuality. But we didn't. Instead, we milled around like frightened farm animals, looking for formulas and father images, while the Secretary General of the United Nations made the first official announcement of the arrival of creatures from outer space. They called themselves Canamitz, and announced over the shortwave that on that given afternoon, they would arrive on Earth.
At 11 o'clock this morning, Eastern Standard Time, the first of these landings took place in an area just outside of Newark, New Jersey. Subsequently, we have had reports of other landings in the Soviet Union, in Norway, the southern coast of France, just outside of Rio de Janeiro, and several others. Speaking on behalf of the United Nations, I can only tell you that at this moment it would be premature to assume hostile intent on the part of these Canamitz. And so it is the position of the United Nations that the world population remain calm, to make no hostile move. To keep in mind that all governments are being apprised of the events as they happen and have the situation well in hand.
What do they look like?
Yeah, what do they look like?
As of this moment, no.
Can't we get a more specific statement?
We do not know what they look like. We only know that several of the craft have landed and that they...
What's the secret? Why can't we have
What's going on? What's happening? Please, Mr. Secretary.
It appears that one of the craft has landed just a few blocks away.
that close?
One of their representatives is on his way to this building.
This is unbelievable.
Respectfully submitted for your perusal, a Canamet. Height a little over 9 feet. Weight in the neighborhood of 350 pounds. Origin unknown. Motives? Therein hangs the tale. For in just a moment, we're going to ask you to shake hands figuratively with a Christopher Columbus from another galaxy and another time. This is the Twilight Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Earth, we greet you in peace and friendship. We come from a planet far beyond this galaxy, a planet far more developed than Earth, but we come as friends. Although we know your language, our own methods of communication are mental rather than verbal. Hence, the voice you hear me speaking with is totally mechanical. Our intentions are honorable. We desire, above all things, to help the people of Earth, to establish embassies here, and in the near future to set up reciprocal visits between Earth people and Canamets.
Perhaps you watched this initial questioning. Most people on Earth did. On television sets, radios, shortwave. And surely some of the questions asked by your representatives must have been identical to more than a few of your own. Because as a race, we're unaccustomed to charity. Brutality is a far more universal language to us than an expression of friendship from outer space.
Would you be willing to be interrogated here and at this time? There are UN delegates present of most of the important countries, and the television cameras are carrying our meeting throughout the world.
I will be glad to.
Senor Valdez of Argentina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Senor, could you please inform us precisely why have you chosen this planet for your visit?
It has come to our attention that Earth has been plagued by both natural and unnatural catastrophes, all of which could easily be acted upon and prevented.